Okay, so are you ready to dive deep?
Oh, always ready to dive in. Yeah.
All right. Well, today we're going to be looking at this blog post from DX Today blog.
Yeah.
It's by Rick Spare,
Okay.
and it's all about this kind of crazy intersection of artificial intelligence and blockchain.
Oh,
Yeah. And it's called The Rise of Generative AI in Blockchain, Transforming the Way We Create and Exchange Value.
catchy.
It is catchy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to kind of set the stage here, we've all seen, I think by now, these really cool AI-generated images.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But the thing that really caught my eye about this article is that it's not just about making cool art. It's about how this same tech, this generative AI, could actually revolutionize how we think about data security.
Interesting.
Yeah, especially on a blockchain. So, I mean, did you ever think that the tech behind an AI portrait could somehow impact how we buy a house or verify our identity online?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I haven't thought about it in those terms exactly, but now that you mention it, yeah, it makes sense, right?
Right. It is kind of a mind-blowing concept.
Yeah.
So maybe to start us off, can you just give us a super clear explanation of what generative AI actually is?
Sure. Yeah. So I think at the most basic level, generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that can create new data. And this data can be anything from text and images to music, code, even 3D models. And the cool thing is that it learns by analyzing patterns in existing data and then using that knowledge to create something completely new.
So it's not just copying, it's actually creating.
Exactly. It's more about learning the rules of the game and then coming up with its own moves.
So how does it do that? How does it actually learn to create new stuff?
Yeah. So a common way is to use what are called generative adversarial networks, or GANs for short. And these GANs consist of two parts, a generator and a discriminator. And it's kind of like a competition between two artists. The generator creates something new, like an image, and then the discriminator tries to figure out if it's real or fake. And this back and forth, this competition, helps the generator get better and better at creating realistic data.
Okay, so it's one is trying to fool the other, basically.
Exactly. And as they compete, they both get better.
That's so wild. So with these AI portraits, it's basically the generator's hey, I made a portrait. And then the discriminator's is this a real person or not?
Yeah, exactly. And over time, the generator gets so good that the discriminator can't tell the difference anymore.
That is it blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how it makes images. But how does that translate to the blockchain? What kind of data are we talking about here?
Right. So, I mean, what are the core principles of blockchain is this idea of, a decentralized and secure ledger. And every transaction, every bit of information added to the blockchain, it has to be verified, right?
Yeah.
So right now that involves a lot of, complicated cryptography and human oversight. But now imagine if a generative AI could come in and analyze all the existing data on the blockchain.
Okay.
So it learns the rules, the patterns, and then it starts to generate new data that fits perfectly within that existing structure.
So it's the AI is becoming a blockchain expert itself.
Exactly. It's learning to speak the language of the blockchain.
Wow.
And because it can generate valid data, it can also spot anything that looks fake or malicious instantly.
So it's like having an AI security guard, basically.
Exactly. But like a super-powered security guard who knows the blockchain inside and out.
Okay, now that's cool.
Yeah.
So that brings us to smart contracts, right?
Yeah.
We hear that term a lot, but how does AI actually make them smarter? I mean, they're already pretty complex.
They are. And, smart contracts, they're basically self-executing agreements, right? They're written in code. But code, like anything else, can have loopholes, vulnerabilities, things that, a human might miss. Yeah. But a generative AI, it can analyze that code, compare it to a massive library of other contracts, and then instantly flag anything that looks suspicious or it could be exploited.
Okay, that's impressive. So it's like an AI auditor, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Constantly scanning for security risks.
Okay, so that's making the contract safer. But doesn't this also make things even more complicated? Don't you need a super specialized programmer to do all this?
That's the interesting part, right?
Yeah.
The AI can actually simplify the whole process.
Okay.
Imagine a future where anyone can create a smart contract, just by giving plain language instructions, and then the AI translates that into secure, airtight code.
Okay, so it's not just about security, it's about making this technology accessible to anyone, basically.
Exactly, democratizing access. And that's a big shift, I think.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
So how does this translate to the world of dApps then?
Right.
Because, we hear about them all the time, but what makes them different from like the apps we use every day?
So, most apps that we use, they rely on centralized servers, right? So you have a single company controlling your data and, all the functionality of the app. dApps are different. They run on the blockchain.
Okay.
So they're decentralized by nature. Think of it like this. If Facebook is like a skyscraper, right? And all the data is stored on the top floor, a dApp is more like a city.
Okay.
With data distributed across a network, making it much harder to hack or to control.
So it's like a more secure way to build an app.
Exactly. You get more control, more security.
Okay, I get that, but it also sounds a lot more complex, right? Like building and managing a dApp.
Well, yeah, it can be. But this is where, generative AI comes into play again. It can really help streamline that whole development process, maybe even generating parts of the code itself. And it can also help dApps analyze all that data on the blockchain.
So it's like having an AI assistant for building these apps.
Yeah, exactly. Making them more efficient, more responsive.
And probably less of a headache for the developers.
Right. Less of a headache, for sure. And it can even help personalize the experience for users.
Oh, how so?
Yeah.
Because the app's actually learning and adapting.
Exactly. So, by analyzing the data, the dApp can start to tailor itself to individual needs and preferences.
Okay. Now that's interesting.
Yeah. So, maybe less spam.
Oh, please.
More relevant content. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been getting pretty technical here, but what are the real world implications? How is this actually changing things right now?
Well, take supply chains, for example. One of the biggest challenges is just ensuring that products are authentic, right?
Yeah.
But with generative AI, you could have a system where every product has a unique digital fingerprint. And that fingerprint is created on the blockchain. And then as the product moves through the supply chain, the AI is verifying it at each step.
So no more fake handbags or dodgy pharmaceuticals.
Hopefully not.
That's reassuring. Okay, but what about more personal applications? How is this tech impacting individuals?
Well, imagine healthcare, right? Imagine a world where your entire medical history is stored securely on the blockchain, and you have complete control over who can access it.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then a generative AI could analyze that data. It could identify potential health risks, even suggest personalized treatment options.
Wow. So personalized medicine on a whole new level.
Exactly. Yeah. Based on, your unique genetic profile and everything.
That's pretty amazing. But I got to ask about the privacy aspect.
Right.
Because, people are already kind of hesitant to share their data with big companies. Wouldn't putting it on the blockchain make it more vulnerable?
Actually, I think it's the opposite. Because the data is decentralized and encrypted, it's actually less vulnerable to hacks or breaches.
Okay.
And you control access. So it's like having a digital vault
right.
for your most sensitive information.
That makes sense. Okay, so it's secure, it's personalized, but is it practical? Can our current systems even handle this kind of tech?
Well, that is a challenge. I think it requires us to really rethink how we approach healthcare. Maybe move away from these centralized systems and embrace more of a patient-centric model.
Okay.
And I think generative AI and blockchain can really be catalysts for that kind of transformation.
It is fascinating to think about how this tech could give individuals so much more power over their own data, their health, their identity even.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we focus a lot on the good stuff here, right?
Yeah.
We got to talk about potential downsides too. We touched on malicious use earlier, but can we dig into that a little deeper?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key challenges is making sure that the AI itself is secure.
Right. Yeah.
Because if someone could manipulate the AI, they could potentially corrupt the data on the blockchain.
Right.
So, a lot of research right now is focused on making sure that AI systems are protected from attacks.
So it's like a constant arms race, basically.
Yeah, kind of, right? The good guys versus the bad guys. But it's not just about malicious intent. We also have to think about unintended consequences.
Okay. Yeah, like what?
Well, let's say you have an AI that's designed to, optimize a supply chain for efficiency.
Yeah.
Right. it might inadvertently prioritize speed and cost over things like ethical sourcing or, environmental sustainability.
Okay, so it's not just about making the AI smart. It's about making sure that it aligns with our values, too.
Exactly. And that's not always easy. It requires collaboration between, technologists, ethicists, policymakers, even the public.
It's a lot of responsibility. It feels like the stakes are really high here.
Right. They are. I mean, we're talking about technology that could fundamentally reshape our world.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Sure.
What are some of the most exciting things you're seeing right now in this space? Like, what are people actually working on?
Well, one area that's really exploding is decentralized finance, or DeFi. And we're seeing, completely new financial systems being built on the blockchain.
Okay.
Powered by, smart contracts and generative AI.
So like a whole parallel financial universe.
In a way, yeah, it's still early days, but it has the potential to really disrupt the entire financial industry.
That is mind-boggling.
It is, yeah. And I think it really empowers people, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Give them more control, more options.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about, like, finance, right?
Yeah.
But what about other industries? Like, where else is all this tech, all this AI and blockchain stuff actually making a difference?
Well, one area that's really fascinating is how this tech is being used in the arts.
Oh.
We already talked a little bit about how AI can help artists create and share their work, but it goes even deeper than that,
Okay.
Like, imagine a world where digital art is not only unique, but it's also provably scarce.
Okay, how do you mean?
Well, thanks to blockchain technology, right?
Right.
You can actually create digital art that's like a one-of-a-kind original.
So no more endless copies floating around the internet.
Exactly. Each piece is truly unique and verifiable.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it opens up all these new possibilities for collectors and investors.
Yeah, you see that.
It's like suddenly owning a piece of digital art is as prestigious as owning a physical masterpiece.
Like a digital Mona Lisa, basically.
Yeah.
But with even more security and transparency thanks to the blockchain.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. But let's shift gears for a second here. We haven't really talked about governance yet. I mean, if we're talking about truly decentralized systems, who's actually in charge?
Yeah.
How do you make decisions when there's no central authority?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's where this concept of DAOs comes in.
Yeah.
Decentralized autonomous organization.
Okay, and what are those?
So basically, it's a group of people coming together to achieve a common goal, right? But instead of having a traditional hierarchy, they use smart contracts and blockchain to govern themselves.
So it's like a company or an organization run by algorithms and code?
Yeah, kind of.
That sounds both futuristic and a little chaotic. How does that even work in practice?
Well, it's actually more straightforward than you might think.
Okay.
So members of a DAO, they typically hold tokens that give them voting rights.
Okay.
And proposals are submitted and voted on using the blockchain, which makes everything transparent and, immutable. And then the AI can actually execute those decisions.
So it's like a digital democracy, basically.
Yeah, in a way, everyone has a voice. And the AI is this neutral facilitator.
Okay, but are there any real-world examples of these DAOs actually working?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing them being used for all sorts of things.
Okay, like
managing investment funds, crowdfunding projects, even governing online communities. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
Wow, so this tech could really empower communities, give them more control over their own decision-making.
Exactly.
That's pretty radical. But as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I want to come back to the ethical considerations again.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about the potential benefits, but we also have to acknowledge the potential risks, right?
Right.
How do we make sure that all of this power, all this technology is used for good?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It all comes down to responsible development. We have to build AI systems that are aligned with our values.
Yeah. That
prioritize fairness, transparency, and accountability.
Yeah, it's not just about making the tech work, it's about making sure it works for everyone, right?
Exactly. And we need robust governance frameworks for these DAOs as well to make sure they're truly democratic and representative.
Okay, so a lot to think about.
A lot to think about. It's a huge task, but it's essential.
It is, because, we're talking about technology that could, fundamentally change how society works.
Yeah. We can't afford to be naive about this stuff.
Nope, we can't. It really is. And, it's exciting. It's a little scary, but it's definitely something we have to pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've been talking about finance. We've talked about art, healthcare. Are there any other industries where this AI blockchain combo is kind of shaking things up?
Oh, tons. I mean, it's being used in supply chain management, education, even things like, voting systems. It's really kind of all over the place.
Okay, so this tech, this AI and blockchain stuff, it's powerful, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it all comes back to how we use it.
Yeah, 100%.
We have to be mindful of the ethical implications, the potential risks, all that stuff.
Right. It's not just about, making cool tech. It's about using it to create a better world.
Exactly. Okay, so for our listeners out there, what's the one thing you really want them to take away from this deep dive?
That's a good question. I think the main thing is that, this technology, it's still evolving, right?
Yeah.
It's not a finished product. So we need to stay informed, stay engaged, and, keep asking those tough questions about how we want to use this stuff to shape the future.
Well said. I think that's a great place to leave it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a fascinating conversation.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of tech and innovation.